Welcome to Photoshop Elements 5 with Philip Andrew. Also new for the Photoshop Elements feature is the inclusion of a curves control. This is brand new for Photoshop Elements 5. Curves have featured in Photoshop for the last few revisions, and photographers often use them to fine-tune the tones in their images. So it's a welcome inclusion in Photoshop Elements 5. Let's have a look at how the Adobe guys have actually brought it into Photoshop Elements. As you would expect, it's a lot easier to use inside Photoshop Elements than perhaps it is inside Photoshop. So to select the new feature, we go to the Enhance option and then down to Adjust Color and then across to Adjust Color Curves. This brings up a new dialog which has two parts. The upper section, or the default section, has a range of thumbnail samples. Making changes to your picture is as simple as clicking on one of those thumbnail samples. We can lighten the shadows, adjust for backlighting, darken highlights, apply solarize settings, or even increase the contrast, which is probably what works a bit best for this particular example. These are fairly general settings and might not suit all pictures. So as well as the sample thumbnails, if we close down or just hide that section of the dialog for the moment and then open up the advanced options by clicking the little sideways arrows on the left, you'll see that we can actually fine-tune these settings using the four sliders that appear here. Also notice that on the right hand side you'll see a curves control as well, or a curves diagram. As we move the sliders, you'll actually see the change occur to not only just the picture that's previewed in the workspace, but also to the curve itself. So as we adjust the highlights, notice that you'll see the curve change on the right hand side and also the picture change on the left. We can adjust highlights and mid-tone brightness and mid-tone contrast using the sliders that you can see, as well as shadows. So we provide a range of specific adjustments for the image using the slider controls. Generally speaking, moving to the right will lighten things like shadows, make the image brighter, and lighten highlights. Moving to the left will darken shadows, highlights, and darken the image. Moving the contrast slider to the right will actually decrease the contrast, and moving it to the left will increase the contrast. So we can do with just a little less contrast in this one. So I'll move it this way, and maybe a little more brightness. So I'll move it this way, just a little more again, maybe just a touch more, and maybe lighten the shadows up. And then just click OK to actually apply these settings. If we want to go back to the beginning or the default, how the picture first appeared, then we click on the reset option.